My suffering was silent for so many years that even I forgot what my real voice sounded like. Growing up, I learned early that pain didn't echo unless someone with power cared to listen. And in my world, nobody cared. I was the kid people pushed past, stepped over, talked around. Not because I was weak, but because they convinced everyone, including me, that I was supposed to be invisible. At home, the walls were thin, and the insults passed through them like smoke. The people who were supposed to love me treated me like an obligation that overstayed its welcome. They never hit me, at least not with hands, but their words carved deeper wounds than fists ever could. They had a way of saying things that sounded like truths, even when they were poison. You'll never be anybody. Why do you even try? People like you don't go far. The worst part is how easy it was for a child to believe such things. But silent suffering doesn't stay silent forever. It builds, it stacks, it sharpens. By the time I reached high school, I was a ghost in my own life, drifting between classrooms, avoiding eye contact, absorbing mockery that was always dressed as jokes. Teachers looked through me. Students looked down on me. I walked the halls with my head lowered, not because I feared the world, but because I didn't think I had the right to look at it. Then one day, in a moment that didn't seem significant at first, everything changed. I was walking home after school, backpack half unzipped, shoelaces untied, just trying to disappear fast enough to avoid the group that always shadowed me. They caught up anyway, they always did. The same voices, same taunts, same laughter that followed me everywhere. They pushed me around like they always had, but that day, for the first time, I felt nothing. No fear, no sadness. Just a coldness that settled inside me like a seed being planted. I went home, went to my room, locked the door and stared at myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize the eyes staring back. They weren't helpless anymore. They weren't begging. They weren't breaking. They were waiting. That night I made a promise. I would rise quietly, patiently, unseen. And when my time came, my revenge would not just fall on those who hurt me. It would echo through their generations. Silent suffering had made me disciplined. Pain had made me observant. Loneliness had made me focused. And invisibility, that had become my greatest advantage. I threw myself into schoolwork like a soldier studying for war. I stayed late in libraries when everyone else was out living their loud, easy lives. I worked after school, saved every dollar, spent nights teaching myself everything I wasn't being taught. Coding, finance, psychology, negotiation, public speaking, the tools of those who shape the world from the shadows. And while the people who mocked me were busy wasting their youth chasing temporary highs, I was building the foundation of an empire they couldn't even imagine. College wasn't handed to me, I took it. Scholarships, grants, late hours, sacrifices nobody noticed. I was still invisible, but now it worked for me. Nobody fears the quiet kid. Nobody watches the silent one. Nobody anticipates the revenge of someone they consider beneath them. I graduated early and stepped straight into the world of business like someone breaking out of chains. My first job was small, barely above minimum wage, but I studied the place like I was preparing to take it over. I learned the system, the weaknesses, the politics, the people. I watched how leaders moved, how manipulators worked, how decisions were made behind closed doors. And then I created something of my own. A company built from the ashes of who I used to be. A company people underestimated. A company that grew faster than anyone could predict. While the ones who used to laugh at me were drowning in bills, breakups, addictions, and broken dreams, I was stacking successes quietly, steadily, ruthlessly. I never bragged, never showed off, never gave them a reason to look my way. That was the beauty of silent power. Nobody sees it until it's too late. My first major breakthrough came after years of being ignored. A software project I developed on a worn-down laptop became the backbone of several major corporations' operations. Money flowed in like a tide I'd never been allowed to swim in. Power followed, influence followed, access followed. But the world has a strange way of circling back. People who once acted like they didn't know my name suddenly remembered it when they needed something. They reached out with fake smiles, polite greetings, messages dripping with nostalgia for friendships that never existed. They thought success would soften me. They thought money would change me. But they had no idea. Money didn't change me. It armed me. I started buying things quietly. Businesses, properties, stocks, land, even the places where my tormentors worked. I moved like a ghost through the legal system, acquiring power they didn't even know was shifting hands. Paperwork became my battleground. Contracts became my weapons. Signatures became my scars turned into swords. One by one, I became the shadow behind everything they depended on. Their jobs, their homes, their futures. And when the day came to reveal myself, I didn't shout, I didn't gloat, I didn't demand recognition. I simply made appearances where they least expected me. Like the day I walked into the office of the manager who once told me I'd never make it. He didn't recognize me at first. Success had reshaped me. Confidence had rebuilt me. Silence had sharpened me into someone unbreakable. "May I help you?" he asked. "You already have," I said, sliding the document across his desk. "I own this place." The look on his face was the first echo of my revenge. Then came the others. The former classmates who used to shove me into lockers walked into work one morning only to learn their company had been acquired, and the new owner wanted performance reviews. The girl who spread rumors about me applied for a job at one of my subsidiaries, unaware the interview was being watched by me through a reflective glass panel. The teacher who told me I wasn't college material reached out online to ask if I would come speak to his students, unaware he was begging mentorship from someone he once belittled. I didn't need to destroy them with violence. Life did that on its own. I just positioned myself so their downfall was redirected back toward its source. But the real revenge wasn't in watching them crumble. It was in watching their children grow up under the shadow of the consequences their parents created. Because I didn't take away their money. I took away their opportunities. I bought the neighborhoods they wanted to live in. I invested in schools their kids couldn't qualify for. I funded scholarships for kids who were just like me, quiet, overlooked, underestimated, making sure the next generation of silent sufferers had a voice long before I did. The families who mocked me now live under systems I control. Their futures are shaped by decisions I make. Their children compete in a world where my influence is the air they breathe. And still, they never see me coming. Revenge isn't loud. Power doesn't shout. Victory doesn't need an audience. My suffering was silent because I was forced into silence. My revenge is silent because I choose it to be. Yet its echo, that will outlive them. Their children will grow up in a world I built. Their grandchildren will inherit the consequences of the cruelty their parents thought was harmless. And when they wonder why doors open for others but not for them, when they question why opportunities slip away, when they feel the weight of systems bending against them the way the world once bent against me, they will hear it. The echo of a voice they tried to silence, the echo of the promise I made in my room years ago. My suffering was silent. My revenge will echo through their generations. And I will never apologize for it. Because they created the monster they now fear. They crafted the silence that became my weapon. They built the empire that now towers over them. All I did was rise. Quietly, patiently, unstoppably. And now the world knows. The quiet ones are the most dangerous of all.